Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, we are on our last segment of the Friday night news. We'll be talking today about our business news or corporatocracy. And today we're going to be talking about those crazy, pesky, homicidal Tesla cars. To start off, though, this one could be under privacy. I put it under business for whatever reason. Project Fi, of course, this is Google's kind of Wi-Fi handoff system on your phones. Now it works for your whole family. What does that mean, your whole family? Well, it basically means for your whole family, including your children under 13 years of age. So yet another company eroding away the laws of COPPA, buried under a deep, deep terms and conditions that you won't bother to read, but you have agreed to it anyway, and so there go your child's data. Because with this, you can actually sit here and monitor everything you have. Think of how good this is. You have a kid under 13, now you can give them access to Project Fi because you've signed up for the COPPA rights. Now Google can see what they're doing, but the great news is you can see what they're doing, you can monitor all their use, and the only thing I had to ask is, why does your kid under 13 years of age have a smartphone? Take that thing away. I'm not even sure 16-year-olds need smartphones, people. All right, these things are potentially dangerous, particularly because our smartphones are so locked down behind a walled garden, we can't do anything to protect them. That's exactly why I use a Nexus 5X with Lineage. As much as I would rather be running Copperhead, Copperhead does not give me the option to modify my host's file. Lineage does. So I can block out all of this bad tracking stuff and all the other bad things that my 13-year-old or younger son might want to see on the internet that I think would be a bad idea. And I don't want to monitor what he's doing. I want to block the bad stuff. All right, and frankly, under 13 years of age, they shouldn't have a smartphone anyway. But regardless, if you do happen to have a smartphone for your under 13-year-old kid, now you can connect them to Project Fi, kick off those COPPA things, agree to let Google collect all of that data that they want, and now you can see everything you're seeing from the dashboard. But now you can manage your child's phone service with Project Fi. You have current cycles, you have this many things. Oh, this is you, this is Samantha, and this is Franklin. See, Franklin's the kid here. I can tell because he's using 3.3 gigabytes. No one else is even close. Maybe you are too, but that's Samantha. She's got better things to do than sit there watching videos all day long on the cell phone. So, you know, set digital ground rules for your child. No, you know what? If you want me to set digital ground rules, if you are all about the safety of my child, then you guys build phones that allow me to modify my host file so I can block the stupid crap on the internet without an app that is completely useless. All right? I know, I went through and audited every app that is supposedly a filter out there for Android phones. I found one that is possibly sufficient. And it's not even all that good, that being NetAngel. It allows you one free phone. Everybody else, you got to pay them extra subscription fees. As if I want to pay $15 subscription fee when I could just modify the host file. This is why I hate smartphones these days, because they're walled gardens that we can't control the device that we actually bought. But anyway, you can sign away your rights to COPPA and allow Google to collect all this data on your children now. Yeah, this probably should be on the privacy news, but whatever. Mercedes, they're the latest car company to come out with a subscription service. One of the cheapest ones yet, for $1,095 a month starting. You can get the subscription fee to have a Mercedes. You know, I saw a video looking at, there was a person that compiles stats and came out and looked at the cost of using an Uber versus the cost of owning your own car in a few different metropolitan cities. And of course, the only one that it was cheaper to own your car was Dallas, from those stats. So of course, Uber and Lyft are both pushing this narrative that cars are so expensive, you should do away with them. Just utilize us for our ride services, which sounds great for the people who own the cars. It doesn't sound great for the people, and oh, I know, you don't use your car all the time. I didn't step foot in mine today. But you know what? It's there if I want to take a 3 a.m. ride without calling some stranger on my cell phone. Okay? Or even worse, a homicidal Uber car that will just, you know, thump people over because, it's an unknown object. Just drive full speed into it, you know. Person really don't care. But the thing is that these companies are pushing this narrative that it's so expensive to own a car. Well, morons, stop renting your car services for $1,000 a month. Realize right now the average car payment in America is $500. Guys, I've not paid a penny into my car for 10 years. Outside of a couple of repairs this year. This is the first year in 10 years I've actually had to put repairs into the car. And it's been less than $1,000 total. Okay? It does not cost $9,000 to operate a car unless you're brain dead and you lease the stupid thing. So who would benefit from a service model like this where you pay Mercedes $1,000 a month or BMW $2,000 a month or Cadillac or Lexus or whoever, all of these fees? Well, the only plausible argument I heard of is people who might live half on this continent and half on that continent. You make your trip into the States, you know, you're probably a wealthy business exec, you make your trip into the States. For $1,000 a month, you can rent a very nice, fancy-dancy car. But the reality is they push these to everybody, and people who can barely afford it are paying $1,000 a month for a car that when this fee is over, they have nothing. They have no asset. They have nothing. Nothing to save for it. That's the problem. On top of that, you're still paying insurance, of course. See, here's the thing. Despite it cost me a little bit of money to have the car, I'd rather have the car and have the asset that comes along with it, rather than a monthly subscription fee. This is that thing, guys. I've been talking about this for years, guys. Go check out my tinfoil hat time about subscribing ourselves into bankruptcy, where subscription services are coming all over the place. This is a subscription service where $1,000 just goes into thin air. Thin air. Because at the end of this month, you got to give the car back, and you have nothing to show. But do you realize for a couple $1,000, you can buy a little car that's going to be reliable enough to give you a year or two's worth of service at least? My car's not valued more than that. I mean, I've had it since, I think I bought my car in 2009. I've had payments since then, okay? 2009 to 2018, that's at least 8 years. 9 years, excuse me. Zero cost into that. Sure, I've had some gasoline. I've put some oil changes into it. That's it. That's it. Yeah, if you're in New York City, it might make more sense to call an Uber than it does to figure out your parking. Those are those situations where I get it. But, you know, as that video I watched said, yeah, it's not like they have subways, trains, buses, and taxis already. I'd rather utilize those than an unscrupulous company that pays their employees jack nothing and is aggressively working towards a target to lay all of them off so they can own the fleet of cars. Subscription services are killing us, America. Don't pay $1,000 for something that goes into dust in the air, particularly if you can't afford it. And the reality is these are not targeted to people who need those big services, continent-to-continent travelers. These are marketed to you and I. And this is a problem. Just a little PSA, net neutrality. Congress needs to vote by Monday whether or not these net neutrality rules are finally going to be in place. Because guess what, guys? All these net neutrality rules are still not in place yet. They have to vote by Monday. Of course, the Senate has already passed this. Now it has to pass. The resolution needs to pass in Congress, and Trump would have to sign it. So we pretty much have to kick net neutrality to the curb. But, you know, they don't care. It's just another thing, but what we'll get a chance to see is we'll get a chance to see which politicians we kick out of office to repeal what they've done. That's essentially what we're gonna do. So kind of sad. Net neutrality is going to go away. Of course, here's our final title story. This is the preliminary report from the Highway Transportation Safety Board regarding the Tesla crash on March 23rd. So, of course, this one, the Tesla Model X P100D, occupied by a 38-year-old driver, was traveling south on Highway 101, Mountain View, California. And as the vehicle approached the interchange, it was traveling in the second lane from the left, which was a high occupancy vehicle lane for continued travel. I think this guy was in here alone, but I can't remember. So basically, according to the data, the car decided to go change lane and proceed to accelerate into the medium thing. Like, these cars are homicidal. I think that this is the thing. Like, I think that there's something in these Teslas that's seeing the black and yellow stripes and shooting for it as fast as it can. Because that's probably what's at the back of the fire trucks they keep on liking to run high speed into. And these things tend to like to run high speed into these barrier markers. That's what happened. Is now the guy is most likely at fault because according to the system, for the last minute prior to the accident, he only had his hands on the steering wheel for like 34 seconds, including up to 10 seconds prior to the accident. The car was signaling that he needs to take control of the car, but the car went full hot into this thing. So of course this is a really bad accident. Guy died. So here is the crash attenuator. So the thing basically hits this, just causes huge cascade where the Tesla gets completely destroyed. The Audi crashes into that. A Mazda crashes on the scene. So here is literally what's left. The car hit with such high impact, it damaged the batteries, caused a massive fire. Basically destroying everything. The problem is that this attenuator here had been damaged from an accident a week before and it had not yet been fixed. So these act as bumpers, decreasing the severity of a crash. But this was damaged, and as this was damaged, that basically was looking like this, and it did not impact, did not absorb any of the impact. But here's the ultimate problem, is that this Tesla car accelerated into this barrier. As it is accelerated into 2 fire trucks and actually multiple of these barrier accidents. These Tesla cars crash into these barriers a lot. That's kind of what they're coming down to. Of course, the issue is the guy did not have his hands on the wheel. Maybe Tesla needs to change the title of this. It's not an autopilot, morons. Autopilot means the thing can drive itself. This is not autopilot. Tesla needs to change the branding. Maybe better cruise control, or just call it cruise control. Maybe cruise assist. I don't know. But autopilot is a horrible name because autopilot in an airplane flies the plane. Autopilot in a Tesla does not fly the Tesla. Okay, and here's the thing is that I have to drive on the roads with these cars. Get them off the road if you're not going to fix the problem. Yeah, I'm a little skeptical of this. If I had some Tesla barrel into me because the stupid autopilot's on, I'd be suing the company too. Because this is destructive. Look at how many of these Tesla cars have crashed into these barriers. You will find it's a lot. They seem to like these. They seem to drive accelerating into black and yellow things for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not sure they know why. I'm not sure they care why, as long as they keep selling them. So here's the preliminary stats. Autopilot system was engaged on 4 separate occasions during the 32-minute trip, including continuous operation for the last 18 minutes and 55 seconds. During the 18-minute and 55 seconds, the vehicle provided 2 visual alerts and 1 auditory alert for the driver placed his hand on the steering wheel. These were my apologies, more than 15 minutes prior to the crash. During the 60 seconds prior to the crash, the driver's hands were detected on the steering wheel on 3 separate occasions for a total of 34 seconds. For the last 6 seconds prior to the crash, the vehicle did not detect the driver's hands on the steering wheels. At 8 seconds prior to the crash, the Tesla was following a lead vehicle and was traveling about 65. At 7 seconds prior to the crash, the Tesla began a left steering movement while following a lead vehicle. At 4 seconds prior to the crash, the Tesla was no longer following the lead vehicle. 3 seconds prior to the crash and up to the time of the impact with the crash attenuator, the Tesla's speed increased from 62 to 70.8 miles per hour with no pre-crash braking or evasive steering movement detected. That's called a homicidal car. Don't get a Tesla, people. At least not one with autopilot. They seem to like driving into those things. I wouldn't get a Tesla anyway because of how much data collection and perpetual internet is keep on going back to the company. All right, this is one of these ones that's just slowly eroding away our freedoms, and we need to be wary about this. Sprint is offering $15 unlimited plans to those willing to switch carriers. Video streaming is linked to 480p. There's no hotspot functionality, and they didn't mention the highlight there, but you have to port your telephone number. Guys, this is the erosion. This is the erosion of net neutrality. Because do you realize that prior to net neutrality rules being on the books, one of the cases was Verizon had blocked hotspot functionality. It is the net neutrality rules that makes that happen. One of the only major reasons I carry a smartphone is because I can quickly share the internet with this device when I am not in the office. All right. Now, at the time, that was 2012. I had a commando phone which was perfectly capable of sharing the internet. Verizon had blocked that. Now, I had routed my phone back then so I could still utilize the internet connecting my USB cable to it and the computer, but Verizon had blocked my ability to share my internet with my phone. This is that erosion where it's starting to move back away from that again. That was a ruling in net neutrality that because this phone had that capability, you may not interfere with it. It was a net neutrality thing. Now that these rules are being repealed, we're going to see more and more of this stuff. We're going to start to see our mobile hotspot capability on our phones become separate devices. Why? Because Verizon really wants to sell you the MiFi hotspots. That's exactly what they did. And in response to that, I bought a Wi-Fi hotspot. I should have been able to sue Verizon for that under the net neutrality rules. There may have even been a class action lawsuit I missed on that topic. All right. Actually, no, I think I did. I think there was a class action lawsuit. I remember getting $10 back from Amazon or from Verizon about that. It should have been a whole lot more than that because I paid a lot of money for that, plus an extra line fee. That paid less than 1 month's service of a thing that my phone had the capability of doing that Verizon blocked illegally, thanks to net neutrality. All right. But this is what we're starting to see. So this is a $15 a month plan. Your video is capped at 480p. You have to port in your number. You have no hotspot. Oh, and one more thing. You have to sign up for auto pay. The erosion of consumer attention. Auto pay is bad, people, because it allows your bills to get paid without you actively involved. That means you will eventually end up paying more. It will cause issues. They could bounce checks. They could do a lot of issues with that. That is a serious concern. Okay, so Sprint is only offering the $15 deal online or by phone, so it's not something you can get walking to your local store. You'll also be paying additional monthly fees and taxes, so it's going to be more than $15, although I'm curious to know what those monthly fees and taxes are. Customers set up and pay by auto pay if they want the $15 price. They're emphasizing the plan won't be around long. Excellent marketing. Scarcity, that's what drives us to it. Carrier told CNET it will be available for weeks, not months. Oh, get it now. Act now. Act now. Become our slave to auto-paying, no hotspot, crappy video service, but it's unlimited data, which it's probably, we're going to find it's not going to be unlimited, I'm sure. How appealing the offer is boils down, whatever. They claim the average network speed increased 34.5% year over year from May 17 to May 18. That's only 1 year. So I guess that means it went up 34.5%. 34.5% year over year means you're considering more than a 1 year period, people. Stats much? But anyway, this is bad. I would encourage you probably not to take this deal because this is eroding consumer choice and freedom. It is limiting you to things that you shouldn't have to limit yourself to. If I have the capability on my device to share hotspot, I should be able to share hotspot. But they are eroding it because net neutrality has been repealed and they can. We are now eating the fruits of our government's labor. What do you think down below? I hope you've enjoyed this video from Switched to Linux. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out the links at the top. There is another video over here. You can check out our Patreon page down here. And you can check out shop.switchtolinux.com for information on a t-shirt like this or some other designs. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.